Welcome back to the Dekks Dera Podcast. A huge patch here. A lot of changes to core cards you maybe thought would never be changed, as well as a new feature being added, which will be great for people who don't know how to build their own decks. I'm joined by Dera.
Dera on the Dekks Dera Podcast. Yeah, we're seeing some of maybe the biggest patch we've ever seen. Maybe I don't know. Is it? But yeah, you guys should stick around to the end of this because we're going over everything in detail and it's going to be absolutely insane. I think I'm actually super excited for this patch. I think maybe because my least favorite card, not my least favorite card, I should say, my most notoriously disputed card that everyone thinks is supposed to be in every deck, America Chavez, is getting a huge rework. I think this card is definitely the biggest change of the patch. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a very substantial patch. I don't know. I was thinking, it's the biggest patch ever, but maybe not. It's definitely very substantial though. Chavez changing is huge. It's gonna shake it up so much. Do you want to say the change? We haven't told anyone yet.
Well, no one knows. By the time you're watching this, you probably have already seen the patch notes. But Chavez is going from a 6/9 to a 2/3 with a completely different ability. It's going to be let me get it exactly. I think it's give the next card +2. It's the top card of your deck gets +2 power on reveal. So it's an on reveal card. So that to me goes perfectly with the new card that's coming out and also something like Werewolf. So it's an on reveal card. It's a 2/3 that gives +2, which makes it my favorite power 2/5. I love 2/5, so I think that is just going to be a good card.
It's very good considering, or under the assumption that you're going to play the card you draw.
Yeah, and if you play a deck that runs a bunch of synergies that like getting +2 on a card, it could be really good. I was already doing some deck building, theorizing around what would be good with Chavez, and then also just like the new card, which we haven't talked about yet, which we will talk about, Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw is going to be actually really good, I think, with this card because it is every time. Let me get the exact wording of Sebastian Shaw here, actually. It is when this card permanently gains power, gain +2 more power. So anything that gives power is going to just make Sebastian Shaw even better.
Yeah. I think other decks that Chavez might be good with off the top of mind is maybe like Zoo decks, just because it might hit a 1-cost card that you probably want to dump, or destroy decks like Deadpool, because you have Deadpool you want to hit, you have Wolverine, you have X-23. There's a lot of great cards that you want to hit within that deck, although that deck or that archetype is really tight as is, so it might not make the cut, but I think it'll be fun to experiment with. Maybe if you're running Hulkbuster, like it might be fun instead. But see if it makes the cut, or if it just maybe breathes air into a new archetype. I don't know. 2/3, not bad. Yeah, 2/5, great stats.
I was thinking Bounce and Surfer. So it's like anything like Surfer, really good with Brood. Think about hitting Brood with this, really good. Hitting like just Shaw is good. Like hitting any card, any 3-drop.
Ooh, maybe like the classic. You run Sinister, Absorbing Man, and you run Brood. And then you also run hitting any of those would be like fantastic.
Yeah, hitting Absorbing Man actually would be good with that too. That's true.
Yeah,
it might all be back. Deck. Maybe it's just a Patriot deck or something. Is back with this.
Yeah,
it's an extra forge in your deck, kind of, but it's a 2/5 instead of a 1/1.
Still a card you probably will not be playing on turn 6.
Probably not. Yeah, that's very true. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have an emote around Chavez. What do I do with that emote?
Scrap it. Throw it in the trash.
Just gotta scrap it. All right. Well, there you go. It was literally my follower emote. I have one follower emote for following my Twitch channel, and that was it.
Oh, you need more than one anyway.
Do you have a lot of follower emotes?
Yeah, I got them maxed out. I don't need people to sub. I want them to have fun follower emotes. I got the SpiderMan points. I got 7, my cat. So yeah,
I'll have to get some more. I actually have like 20 regular slots still available too. I just
oh my god, you got to get to work. Stop making the podcast. Start making some emotes.
Yeah, I should. All right. Next up on the changes list, we have Elith. I think Elith is a much smaller change, not a functional rework necessarily, but instead of them saying including unrevealed cards, it's now changing to destroy only unrevealed cards. And it's going to be 6/2. So it's losing a power and some functionality. So pretty big nerf, but functionally it's going to be mostly the same. I think it's going to fill mostly the same spot. It's like if you're winning by winning 2 lanes and you want to keep winning 1 lane, like you Professor X a lane, or you've locked down a lane with Storm or something, and you just want to win the other lane, you're still just going to be able to play Elith with priority and kill cards. But it's going to be like unplayable without priority now.
I think it still hits the main philosophy of the design behind the card, which was you win if you have priority, kind of. Because normally you wanted to not have priority, so you would, be able to Shang-Chi their cards or Shadow King their cards. But with Elith, you want priority. However, the card just ended up being way too good. So we'll see how it is now. I think it's a better change than I imagined. I think it kind of, it keeps the integrity there. So I like it. We'll probably be seeing a lot less Elith, which I am fine with because the card felt bad to play against, and it didn't feel too healthy. A lot of people complained. I mean, people love to complain. They're always going to complain about something, but the thing that was at the top of that list was still Elith, even though it used to be 6/5, right?
Yeah, it was 6/5 to start. At 6, I think the bigger change here is actually making it a 6/2 than actually changing the unrevealedness, because I think most of the time when you're playing Elith in this game, you have priority out. Like a lot of times you're changing up your play if you don't have priority, like you're not playing Elith, and now you have to. So it will get rid of those edge cases where you weren't playing it. I actually think it still will feel bad to play against Elith, but like you said, it will be played less now. So like you'll see it less, and it'll still just feel bad when you have it played against you. So I don't think it's going to remove the feel bad feeling.
No, I mean, it's still going to be in that niche, or it's gonna be more of a niche card. I think maybe like Rogue. Like Rogue feels awful when you lose against Rogue on the last turn.
Yeah,
but it's just.
Well, I think
how it is.
This is similar to what happened with like Leader though back in the day. It's like they kept trying to just lower Leader's power, and it just like it wasn't enough. Like it just still felt bad, even though it started getting played less and less. Like when they were lowering it, it just didn't feel good to lose to it. And I think Elith will still feel I don't think it's going to be as played as Leader was back when they were just lowering its power, but I think Elith, like I personally wanted them to change it to be almost the opposite, but I think their philosophy is they really want it to be like a priority driven card to punish people from not trying to take priority. So like they don't want to have those come from behind strats get too far out there. But Elith, I don't know if it keeps it in line in a healthy way necessarily, but we'll see.
I'm happy with the change regardless, though. Something needed to happen. I'm glad this happened instead of nothing.
Yeah. Speaking of nothing, Loki's not on this list.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, supposedly, like, they lock in these changes, like, more than a month in advance sometimes, so they had just changed Loki at the end of October, and they were locking in this patch probably, so that means they didn't have time to get to Loki for this patch, but I would expect them to change it in their next thing after this, just because I think Loki is seen at the very least at the top ranks still too
just
much.
Make them cost 6.
Yeah. Make him cost 6, 0 power, and there we go.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would maybe still be played. No, actually, it would still be good with like double collector,
Yeah.
Next up, Luke Cage. Big change actually.
Oh,
maybe
bad about this.
Maybe killing the card. It's going from a 2/2 to a 2/3, but it's only affecting one location now. The location you play into. Your cards here can't have their power reduced. Is what it's changing to.
Oh, it's going to 2/3? I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I needed some compensation. It'd be awful if it didn't change at all, because it's going from global to one location.
Yeah, better in C3 now, I guess.
Oh, that's true. C3 card.
You don't need to hit it with your Bast, but
yeah, that's actually not bad. But now C2 lost a card, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. I think this is going to shake up a lot. Like, it's going to open Hazmat, because a lot of people were just running Luke. Now you got Hazmat. Valk's a little bit better now.
I think Valk is a little bit better, but Shadow King is a little bit better, but we'll get... Shadow King actually is the next change we're going to go over. It just lost a power. But I think one of the biggest things is that, like, you're going to be able to see... what's the name of that card? The 4/5 that reduces power. You know what I'm talking about?
Man-Thing.
Man-Thing. Thank you. Man-Thing, I think, will be able to be a little bit more playable, because I think Man-Thing...
Yeah, that's true.
...was only hurt really by Luke. I really don't see Luke that much even right now, though. So it's like, this really hurts Luke, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah. They didn't have to do that. Oh, well.
Shadow King, after Luke getting removed from the game almost, not really removed from the game, but I think it'll be seen so much less that Shadow King, they had to do something about it because it would be way too strong. Even still, it's just too strong right now, I think, slightly. And they're just bringing it down to a 2/2, which I think is deserved.
Yeah, I feel like this card kind of fit everywhere in any deck. It was like, I need a 2-cost card. What do I put? Jeff or Shadow King. So I think 2/2 is fair. Now it can be played in C2, which is already a strong deck right now. So I think
I always forget about these changes. Actually change it to C2. That is very interesting, actually. C2 Shadow King.
That's going to be
playable.
So much better.
Because C2 was missing tech cards, I feel like. It didn't have any like real good nuke tech cards.
But now they don't have Luke. I was hoping Luke would actually stay at a 2/2 and affect one lane, but
just for the Cerebro.
Yeah, just for Cerebro. I mean, I think he's barely going to see any play, but he would have been quite good in the Cerebro still. The Cerebro 3, I guess, for Luke, and Cerebro 2 for Shadow King. They're swapping places.
Well, another card swapping places is Elsa, going from a 2/2 to a 2/3, and also only affecting one lane now. But
that's a big nerf.
They did make one little buff with that at the same time. Now it's just the last card that fills the location. Will get the plus power. So supposedly, if you play like a Brood there, like a Brood will get the +2. Like one of them will.
The
get
last one, the Brood lane.
The last one. Yeah, okay. I believe so.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't even realize that aspect of the change. I think generally when you're playing Elsa, you are kind of committing to that one lane. There were decks back in the day when Elsa was very much played, where you would like Mysterio and fill all the lanes and get, +3 to all of them or whatever. So those days are kind of already behind us, and then they're kicking Elsa while she's down. Like, her play rate is not huge right now. But also I think this is kind of compensated very slightly by Kitty getting a buff, right?
Yep. If we want to move Kitty going to a 1/1, so that makes it a little bit. I think they really nerfed Kitty because of Elsa, and now she's coming back a little bit.
I mean, still much. Kitty kind of got indirectly nerfed as well by Angela getting nerfed. I mean, it was almost like if you went Elsa, Angela, and you had Kitty in your hand, you kind of win. Now that's behind us. Like, they're nerfing a lot of these old Kitty core cards, which feels kind of bad.
Well, I think it'll still be very playable. I think you'll still play Elsa and Kitty in a deck, because I think, like you said, I think most of the time with Elsa, you are just using one lane as the Elsa buffing lane, and you're just moving the cards out. So you're playing like a Jeff there, you're playing a Kitty there, you're playing Vision there, and you just do that and you move the cards out. You play SpiderMan there. Like, it's just like all these cards just go into the lane and move out themselves. So I don't think this Elsa change is going to be as big as we think it is. Like, I think it'll still be a strong card in the Elsa decks, and I think it'll actually be a slight buff to some of these decks that we're seeing, especially with the Kitty plus the Elsa change. I think, especially since now it's like the last card fills it up, that's also a buff. So it's like it's less awkward.
If Shaw's the last card, does he get double the buff then?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think Shaw will get.
Yeah, maybe so Chavez, Shaw, Kitty, Elsa.
Yeah. There, you're already deck builder.
Yeah.
Day one.
Look at me go.
Next up, Ebony Blade getting a little change. Is just getting an ongoing change that makes it so it can't be destroyed and its power can't be reduced. So no more Shang, no more Shadow King. Ebony Blade is here to stay. I think that's great
Yeah.
for the Black Knight. I've been playing some Black Knight decks.
Really?
It's fun. Yeah, I
Wow.
like them.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that before. You're the number one fan of Black Knight. I think, yeah, being not Shang-Chiable is quite an upside. That's really nice. So I don't know what deck you're playing with Black Knight, but I know mostly see people going with discarding Red Skull, Infinite, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So having those being not Shang-Chiable, it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, I think. I was always scared to play my Enemy Blade out early because Shadow King was everywhere. So it's just like, and having this just get hit by Shadow King is so terrible. Now this makes it so good to just like tempo out because you just don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm excited to dabble back with that. Also, Shang-Chi kind of less good anyways. Only killing 10 power cards. I'm seeing a lot less of it.
I almost never play around Shang-Chi anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't really, there's so many cards I don't play around, like Rogue, Shang-Chi, Juggernaut, like those cards. They always surprise me, and I just like get got whenever that happens, and I have to just move on, But
yeah,
not anymore with the Ebony Blade. Next up, Ravona Renslayer. Just a small tweak here, going from a 2-1 to a 2-3.
I think a huge tweak.
Yeah, I think it's necessary though. I think Ravona just didn't quite make the cut in a lot of lists because like every list you want Ravona in, you pretty much want Bastion for the most part, unless you're playing the Goblin lists. So just like it makes it so that it just like is now you could decide like, do I want to make a Ravona deck or a Bass deck? I think is one of the things because you can't really run both because it removes the ongoing effect. So you could, but I don't know if it'd be good.
Yeah, I normally do just run both, and I'm like, whichever one I draw, I'll just look at my hand and reassess and choose my game plan. And it kind of did okay, but Ravona with the Mystique and then Iron Man is good, but it's weird because you want to Bass and hit Mystique and Iron Man, but you can't because then you can't do the Ravona buff. So it's kind of weird, but this will definitely make it a lot better. Doing a Ravona into an Iron Man is nicer when she has 3 power because then you double it. That's 4 power. Wow.
Yeah. Definitely have to do some deck building around Ravona again with this buff. I think it'll be better.
Goblin, it's probably just Goblin stuff.
Goblin stuff? Yeah, maybe a Nihilist stuff. I don't know if it'll work.
Ravona, Goblin, Hobgoblin, Darkhawk stuff.
Could you do that? Maybe there's a build there. Next up is a weird change as well. Mind Stone. Instead of going from draw 2 stones, it's going to draw 2 1-drops. Draw 2 1-cost cards.
It's a big
I
change.
think this mainly affects when you end up getting a Mind Stone in your hand and you're not a Thanos player. Like if you just get it stolen somehow, like Daily Bugle, or you end up like swapping decks, because of Weird World or something. I think this will just make it better for you as the player because then you'll still be able to play the Mind Stone and have it do an effect. I think that's mainly what this is. Like if you get a random Infinity Stone, you're going to be able to play it out and have it do something.
I'm trying to pull up the top Thanos decks real quick. And most of them don't run more than like 1-drop.
Yeah. For good reason, because you get added a bunch of 1-drops to your deck already.
Yeah. So I think this is kind of a buff, right? It's good for Thanos.
Is it good? I don't actually know if it'll buff Thanos because it's like maybe you want to draw your not 1-drops. You want to draw.
I guess it really depends on the situation.
I think it's a buff against Thanos decks for when they randomly get the Mind Stone. Potentially,
it's a Loki buff.
That too, yeah. I don't think you can get this with Loki though.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
But yeah, I don't
delete that.
It's an interesting. Well, Dexter wrong again. I think next up we have a kind of a series of changes. It's like a functional change to a couple cards. Is like the way movement works. They're updating movement cards to have to explicitly say that they can move unrevealed cards. So there's a couple implications here. So SpiderMan is losing its ability to move unrevealed cards. Same with Stegron. Both of them are just losing that ability. But Stegron is getting a compensation of being a 4/6 instead.
I'm kind of sad.
Spider-Man's already too good to give any stats to, so.
Yeah. I mean, this could be a buff or a downside depending on how you look at it and depending on the situation. Like if you have priority and you really want to move, I don't know, whatever card they have down, like SpiderMan will be great, or Stegron will be great. But I felt myself playing Stegron to kind of just swipe away my opponent's unrevealed cards.
Yeah, Stegron and Spider-Man, I would do that a lot.
Yeah,
like Spider-Man was great when you had priority and they were playing into like cloning events or something, and you didn't want them to clone their card, so you'd pull it off. Same with like Shuri's Lab, you would pull just Spider-Man their Shuri's Lab card off when they were trying to double it. Now you can't do that anymore, so it's a little bit bad.
Yeah,
I think Spider-Man's getting a huge hit from that, honestly.
Yeah,
but Juggernaut's staying the same. They're changing just the wording. Go ahead.
I like the clarity around it. Like the text in card games is always so hard. So I think this is really good for players. Just the clarity around it, where it doesn't move unrevealed cards unless stated otherwise.
Yeah. So one that does have it stated, or not stated, I guess. Juggernaut was the one they have stated, that where they kept it so it could do unrevealed cards. Arrow getting a pretty decent sized rework actually, with this change. So instead of just not moving unrevealed cards, it'll move the last enemy card played. So that includes on previous turns. It no longer includes this turn. So if you don't have priority, it'll move the last card that was played on that turn. But if you do have priority, it'll move the card last played on the previous turn. So
and one power, right?
And it's going to a 5/9, yes. So it's a pretty decent change. I think Arrow, I think that it is a buff, honestly. Like it in a lot of circumstances, because you can basically be like, oh, I know what card they played last. I can just pull that card. I have priority. I can move it wherever I want. And that could be a pretty big deal, I think. Like if someone plays like a Miss Marvel in the middle and you are now at priority on the next turn playing Arrow out, you could just pull that Miss Marvel over to one of the sides. Like there's
or
a lot
if
of
you're playing against a Red Skull deck and you know they're going to play like Taskmaster, maybe just pull in it or something. So
that too. Yeah.
I like this. Good change. I kind of miss old Arrow, man, but maybe I would regret that after one day of playing.
I miss it and don't miss it. You know, it's one of those things that like I miss playing it. I don't miss playing against it. You know, it's Hey, that's how it is with a lot of these decks. But I think that's basically it when it comes to the changes for just the cards themselves. But like you said, we do have a big change coming with the deck builder, which is actually like they have this new function where you click on it in the game and it'll let you complete the deck. Like you click and it says autofill the deck, and it says this action will fill in the empty spots with custom cards, and it'll just fill in the rest of your deck based on what cards you put in your deck. I think that's going to be really cool, especially for people who aren't big deck builders, and it tries to build you a good deck. Like it uses data to actually like pick top decks and be like, oh, these are cards you put in. This is what you're trying to make. Let's go ahead and make a good deck around it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really nice for like more casual consumers. If they just, I want to play Arrow, but I don't know the best deck for her right now, and I don't know how to build it. You just put an Arrow and you click autocomplete or whatever, and then it'll build you an Arrow deck. Supposedly the best Arrow deck available, I think. I don't know how that like algorithm calculates things.
It might pull from like 5 different Arrow decks and then give you a random one out of those 5. I know for Hearthstone, it did something similar like that. The smart deck builder, it would take like a top sample of like 5 of them or something, and it wouldn't do the same one every time. You could click it like 3 or 4 times and see the different things that it would build. But
yeah, it's going to be very interesting because a lot of people have incomplete collection. So how are they going to be able to know the best Arrow deck if you're missing like 3 key cards? At that point, the Arrow deck's probably going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, it might still just... So what it did for like Hearthstone, because I've seen that finished product, it would... When you were missing cards that were like key to the deck, it would just try and find a good substitute for that card in that meta deck. So sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work, because it's just like... It'd be like, we need something of this power and this... Well, it would be this mana and this like... whatever it's, I can't even remember what attack in Hearthstone. It's been so long.
Power attack?
No, it's attack. Yeah, I think attack and health. Attack, health, and mana. There's 3 things, and there's too much.
Too much.
But yeah, I think it'll probably just be like, oh, we need a 2 cost to replace their 2 cost, and
it's probably gonna do that. It's just gonna put Chavez in for a 2-drop if you're missing something.
Yeah. but I think it'll be good. I haven't been able to test it yet, but I think it'll build some solid decks is my guess. Like
Yeah,
from the promotional video, it looked like it'd be good. So,
I think it'll be a great feature. Yeah,
and I'm
I'll
excited
probably
to use it on
Yeah,
stream. Right? I was gonna
yeah.
I was
I
gonna
think I'm
try.
gonna use it for content. I mean, like, oh, okay, no one plays a strong guy anymore. Let me make a strong guy autofill deck and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna do autofill to infinite next season. So,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Ooh, I just got an idea.
Was it my idea that I just said?
It's a no, it's a different idea.
You don't want
But
to share
maybe
it?
it takes no, I'm not gonna share it. It takes some influence from your idea, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I was thinking of doing like a autocomplete, just like, oh, was it Cerebro? Is that what it is? No,
No,
Cerebro 2
no.
autocomplete. It's gonna be a
No, it's
challenge. I could tell you already.
yeah, it'll be a challenge. It'll be fun. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I do see like you could do like some draft battles too. Instead of drafting, you do autocomplete battles.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that was
There,
my idea.
oh, was that your idea? Well, that was. I feel like that was obvious. So
No, it
that'll be
wasn't.
cool. Yeah. Autocomplete battles. I'll battle you, or you can battle Cozy, your new best friend,
But I'll battle both of you
at the same time when 2v2 comes out. Announcing it here on the Dekks Dera podcast.
in 2025, 2v2
2v2. Oh,
and
did
draft
you?
mode.
Speaking of 2025, just right before we recorded this podcast, a
Oh,
new
Grand Theft
trailer
Auto.
dropped. Grand Theft Auto just dropped their new trailer.
It looks
Have you
good.
seen it? You
I
watched
saw the
it?
trailer. Yeah. It was short. They don't really tell you much, but they tickled me in the right places.
Yeah, I was like, this, I will play this. This will be something I buy. I
Yeah.
hope it comes out sooner rather than later because 2025 is a long year, Like, is it the end of the year? Is it December that is coming out 2025?
Yeah, that's a good point. It could be pretty much 2 years from now.
Yeah, they really don't say. Whenever someone says a year, the full year, I always assume end of the year because don't normally say like spring 2025 if it was going to be like early in the year, They're not going to say 2025 and have it be like March,
Yeah,
It must not
they
be
should
soon.
they should have just said 2026.
Honestly, it could be because games get delayed constantly. Things go wrong. But I feel like they must be almost done with the game to show a trailer and announce a pseudo date. So it's got to be close.
Yeah.
They've been working on it for like 6 or 7 years already or something. So
I wonder what their battle pass is going to look like.
yeah, I mean, I think since they built out GTA 5 for online for now, like their ongoing game is online. I bet they built 6 with online in mind. So the battle pass is definitely going to come. I think they will have something like that for sure.
I was joking. I hope they don't have a battle pass, but
I know you're
maybe.
joking, but I think they will.
Oh
I
no.
I think that is actually I don't know if I told you, but Rockstar actually interviewed me to work on GTA 5
Oh my god.
for the ongoing like game, like doing like analytics for them for the online game. And like I was like they gave me an offer basically, but I would wasn't not worth it, but
You turned down a Rockstar?
yeah, working in games just is not really lucrative compared to working in tech, I'll say. Typically,
You
it's
fucked
hard.
up.
Yeah, like even
Look at
like
you now
Riot,
playing
who pays
Marvel
the best.
Snap.
Yeah, Marvel Snap, it's doing all right. Other than Nuverse shutting down, and I don't know what's happening, but it's doing all right for me. I don't know about you guys. I actually this last week, I will say, has felt the most sleepy for Marvel Snap that I've felt maybe ever in Marvel Snap. Actually, not ever. In the beta, there was like a 2 month period where I like took a break, but that doesn't count.
Yeah. I think there was a worse feeling meta than this. I forget what it was, but it's felt better before.
I don't know if it's the meta. Like, I actually don't mind the meta. It's just the sameness of the game hasn't changed enough for me in the last like 2 or 3 weeks to like,
Yeah.
because I play the game a lot compared to most people, right? So it's like I need that constant change for it to feel like
We're-
not too samey.
Are you telling me Martyr was not impactful?
Oof. Actually, some people are trying to tell me Martyr's good, and I still don't see it. But
They're trolls.
some people built
can't-
decks and they were like, it's good for grabbing priority early, and it's doing. I mean, we haven't even talked about the new card yet, actually, Sebastian Shaw, really too much, but I can pull it up. But Sebastian Shaw is a card that's coming out next week. Martyr was the last card. Sebastian Shaw, I think, will actually be good though. I think we kind of briefly talked about it from when we were talking about the other card changes, but it's going to be a 3/4. When this card permanently gains power, gain +2 more power. So any card that adds power to it's going to add even more power to it. So something like Forge, something like Nico even could add power to it. Silver Surfer, Okoye, Nakia. I think Okoye and Nakia are still going to be meh with it, but maybe.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very strong. It's just gonna be like a 3/10 pretty easily. I think that you just drop on the last turn, maybe.
Yeah.
Or before.
I think it'll be a
who knows?
second Werewolf, but worse. I think it'll be almost as good as Werewolf, though, but not almost as good as Werewolf. Werewolf is crazy. Werewolf is maybe the best card of the game. But I think it'll be like a Werewolf-like card where it'll be strong. There'll be a lot of ways to buff it, and it'll just be a big 3-drop that you have on your board.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be very solid. Way better than Martyr, that's for sure.
Oh, so much better than Martyr. This is like I do like how they make the season pass card like a very playable card though. So it like makes it so that people who only are able to get access to like those cards rather than the like very like much more expensive like regular cards,
Yeah.
like 6K token cards.
I feel like a lot of people did not get Marvel, and Marvel is so good.
Whew, I don't know how people didn't pick up that card. I mean, other than
Yeah.
it's $10. So I mean, like some people just don't have $10 to spend on a game, but it's,
No, like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna skip. The card doesn't seem that good. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I
What do
know.
you
Me and you
mean?"
hyped that card up, I feel like.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it'd just be all right. I was like, this card looks amazing.
I put that card in most of my decks now. It's just
Yeah, it's like any deck you could just run, or any deck that had like Mystique in the past. I feel you also just run Marvel. You could just do Marvel, Lad, Hawk, Mystique. That's it. You win.
yeah.
You beat the
That's my
game.
best deck right now. I love that combo. Just having been able to
Yeah.
Darkhawk Mystique or Marvel Mystique. It's too good.
Yeah. Well, did we cover all the cards? Did we cover everything? We can make this a concise one. It's already over 30 minutes.
Already over 30. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
lot of changes, but yeah, I think that's it. I think we can end it there. We can say my little embarrassing story where I lost my TFT thing finally that we were talking about forever. I got out in front of 15,000 people. I think I didn't tell you exactly, but like I was on stream and they do eliminations at like 3 a.m. my time every day. The bottom 4 people in the ladder of TFT got eliminated. And so I was kind of sitting in a mostly safe spot where I was like the 5th person or the 6th person. And one person was queuing up, and if they won their game, they would maybe pass me and I would maybe get eliminated. So I was sitting there watching and I was like, okay, I'll queue up too so that I could also win a game in case they win a game. When I didn't have to queue up, because there wasn't really enough time for me to win a game. It was like 30 minutes left, and TFT games take normally like 40 minutes to win, but like 25 minutes to lose. So
Oh, no.
the only case is like I could lose fast enough, but I can't win fast enough. So me queuing up was mainly for content. But everyone they do a watch party, all the people. So it's like Box, and I think like other people like Raditz, Emily Wang, these other TFT streamers were all in a call together watching, and a really good pro player named Ramblin'. And they were all dissecting my game because I was the only one queuing up and on the elimination thing, because the person ended up losing their game. So they didn't actually, or no, wait. Yeah, they lost their game. So I was no longer at risk unless I lost my game. I had to lose my game to actually get out of the tournament. And
like
I
lose 8th.
Or I just had to hold on long enough that it was past the time for eliminations.
Oh shit. That's
And I was in the game and I literally did every single thing wrong possible. It's like I played Medusa on the right kind of like plays. I was just doing
Oh,
everything
no.
wrong. Like It was just like I couldn't make a correct play. I feel like the nerves got to me, and I had tuned in to like Box's stream while I was playing, which just got in my head. It was a bad idea because I just like I was listening to it, and it was like 20 or like 15 seconds delayed from what I was happening and listening to their commentary on what was happening, of like watching me. So it was like a feedback loop of me just like messing up more and more and more, and it just like it all piled on, and I eventually just went straight 8th, which is the lowest place you can get in TFT, and I lost the game and got eliminated because of it, even though I would have been safe if I just didn't queue up.
We still love you, but you fucked up.
Yeah, I did. But it was fun. I think it made for great content, and well, that's what we're here for, giving you guys good content, so subscribe.
An epic story. That's really cool.
No, it's fun. I actually queued up because I knew that they needed content to watch anyway. So it's like if I didn't queue up, there would be no one like really streaming and didn't have their life on the line for like the last 30 minutes, and that's always more hype, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have liked to pull it out and win though instead, you know? That would have been much better content for me personally, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I should go back and watch it.
Yeah, you could. Go watch it on Box's channel.
All right.
Because I'm sitting there kind of in silence on my stream because I'm literally listening to their stream. So I'm not even giving commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, dang. Well, next time. These happen a lot, it seems like.
Yeah. Box said a comment that was like, no one make fun of him. He's probably very nervous. You know, that's always good. A good sign when they're like, have to tell people not to make fun of you because, you know, it's going that bad. Yeah.
You'll get it next time. You'll win next time.
Yeah, luckily, Box did say that I'll probably get invited to the next one if I apply. So
good. I should apply.
You should apply. You should try it. You could go to the casual league. So
I suck. I've never played since season 6.
You could win the casual league.
I was probably like silver or some shit. It's probably awful.
You get like I don't know, like $2,000 if you win the casual league or something. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll win.
It's fun. You do have to kill your stream numbers though for the game.
Oh.
Are you okay with that? You don't know about that? I mean, you play some off games sometimes.
I do. I kind of stopped lately though.
Becoming a variety streamer, that's us.
Hard.
It is hard. But you know, maybe we'll stick around for Snap. Stick around on this channel for Snap. This was an offline podcast, you know, for here on YouTube, you know. Maybe next week we'll be back to a live podcast, but
yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.